Welcome back to Dezavi Productions. My name's Dezavi. Today, we're doing part 2 of how to make a beat in Ableton Live. I'm going to show you how to record the clips from session view into arrangement view, how to separate the sounds in the drum rack, and how to build an arrangement. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification button so you don't miss a session. Without further ado, let's get to it. Alright guys, so here we have our session. In part 1, we created these MIDI clip loops inside of session view. The first thing we're going to do today is we're going to cover how to add these clips from session view into arrangement view, which is this view right here. We can alternate between the two views by hitting tab on the computer keyboard or going to the top right corner here where you're going to see two buttons that have 3 sets of bars. One is horizontal and the other is vertical. So you can click these buttons to switch different views. There are 2 methods to adding these clips into arrangement view. The first method is a simple click and drag method. So we're going to go to the first clip of the first track. We're going to click and hold this down with our mouse. We're going to hit tab on the computer keyboard to switch to arrangement view. And we're going to drop this down into its corresponding track. In our case, it's going to be Addictive Keys in track 1. We're going to release the mouse. And this drops this down into arrangement view without taking it out of session view. Now, if you wanted to add all these clips at the same time, you definitely can do that. We're going to use Command Z to undo this. We're going to go back to session view, and we're going to click on the first clip of the first track, and we're going to go down the row to the last clip of the last track, and we're going to hold Shift and click on the last clip. This selects all of the clips on this first row of all these tracks. Next, we're going to go ahead and click and hold this down with our mouse on the first clip. We're going to hit tab on the computer keyboard to take us to arrangement view, and we're going to go ahead and drop this again into its corresponding track. Now, as you can see, this is very beneficial because if you have multiple clips that have different lengths, the lengths will not be affected. So we're going to release this, and this drops all the clips down into their corresponding tracks. Now, you've probably noticed that this is all grayed out and there's no color to it. That's because we're still playing this in session view. For us to play this into arrangement view, we're going to go to the right-hand side here, and you're going to see a little play button inside of a rectangle. And we're going to click here, click here, click here, click here, and here. And this will automatically enable and activate these clips. Switching back to session view, you can see that these are now inactive. So now we can go ahead and press play here. Now, the benefit of having these MIDI clip loops is that you don't have to duplicate these clips over and over again. You can simply click to select the clip. We're going to go down and highlight all of the clips here, holding Shift. And then we're going to go to the end of the clip, and we're going to click and drag this out however long we want this track to be. And once again, we're going to go here to the Rain and Thunder, and we're going to drag this out as well. So this is the first method of adding these clips into arrangement view. We're going to undo this by hitting Command Z. And then to get these clips to play inside of session view, we're going to go here to the master track, and you're going to see a little play button on the first row, and we're going to hit this. And this begins to play this on session view and deactivates arrangement view. Now, the second method involves recording the clips from session view into arrangement view. To understand this, you have to understand the record buttons at the top middle of the screen. You're going to see the play, stop, and record button. The big one here that's next to the play and stop, this is your arrangement record button. Anytime you press record here, it will record into arrangement view. So if you have anything inside of session view, it will record your clips from session view into arrangement view. The one on the right here, this is your session record button. Anytime you press this, it will not record into arrangement view, but session view. So for us to get these clips from session view into arrangement view, we're going to go ahead and hit the arrangement record button. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to let this play until after the 4 bars are complete. We're going to stop it there, and we're going to go ahead and press the little play buttons here next to the track names. Now, as you can see, it did not record all the way for the Rain and Thunder, so all we're going to do is we're going to click, hold Shift, and select all of the clips, and then we're going to go to the end of the clip where the mouse turns into a bracket, and we're going to drag this out however long we want this track to be. And those are the 2 methods of adding your clips from session view into arrangement view. Alright, next, let's talk about how we're going to separate the instruments from the drum racks so that they each have their own individual track. Please keep in mind that not everybody does this. The reason that I like to do this is because it gives me much more control over the individual instrument when I'm making an edit, arrangement, mixing, mastering, and adding effects. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started on track number 2, the Azimuth Kit. And this one has a hi-hat, a snare, and a kick. So what I like to do here is I like to go to the name here. I like to right click here and select duplicate. There's 3 different sounds, so I'm going to need one more track. So I'm going to go to the duplicate, right click here and select duplicate. Now that we have 3 different tracks, they all have the same MIDI clip. So to change this, I'm going to click on the first clip here and I only want the kick on this clip. So I'm going to go down here to the MIDI clip. And when we mess with the 4 bars here, it's going to mess with the entire MIDI clip that's inside the arrangement view because if you remember, this is a loop. So we're simply going to click on the key here that has a sound and we're going to click and drag this down because I only want the kick. So I'm going to highlight the hi-hat and the snare and I'm going to hit delete. Next, I'm going to go to the name of this track. I'm going to right click here and I'm going to go ahead and hit rename. You can use Command R or Control R if you have a Windows for the shortcut. And I'm going to call this kick. Moving on to the next clip here, we're going to select the clip and I only want the snare. So I'm going to click on the hi-hat key and this highlights all of the hi-hats. I'm going to hit delete, click on the kick here, hit delete. Then I'm going to go to the name, right click here and I'm going to select rename and I'm going to call this snare. Moving on to the final clip here, I'm going to select the clip, highlight the snare and the kick, and I'm going to hit delete. I'm going to go to the track name, right click here and go rename, and I'm going to call this hi-hat. Once again, we have one more drum rack, so I'm going to click here. I'm going to right click, hit duplicate, and then I'm going to go to the clip, and keep in mind this is a tambourine and the crash. So on the first one here, I only want the crash. So I'm going to go to the tambourine, and I'm going to hit delete. Go to the track name, right click, hit rename, and I'm going to call this crash. Moving on to the next clip here, the final one. I'm going to click on the clip, go to the crash, select it, highlight it, and delete it. Moving on to the name here, we're going to right click here, go to rename, and I'm going to call this tambourine. I'm going to collapse the device view here by clicking on the little arrow in the bottom right hand corner. And now we can see all of the clips here that all have now their own individual instrument. So I'm going to play this just to make sure there are no mess ups. Alright, now that we have everything within its own individual track, let's go ahead and begin an arrangement. Me personally, I like to start by building up the track with the melodics and leaving some of the drums out and then have them come in slowly but surely. So for starters, I'm going to highlight the clip of the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat. I'm going to go to the beginning of the clips where my mouse converts into a bracket. I'm going to click and drag this so I can eliminate the clips here. And I'm going to go start off with at bar 9. Next, I'm going to go ahead and delete the Dezavi dialog here because I recorded when I recorded from session view. And I'm going to stop this here and I'm going to play it. Let's go ahead and stop it. And we're going to delete the brass so that this comes in a little bit heavier. Let's highlight this and play this. Let's delete the tambourine all the way to about the 16th or 17th bar here. Stop it and then press play. Maybe we could have the hi-hat come in at the 5th bar, so we're going to drag this out. We're gonna let it play. I'm gonna stop it here because this is where I want the beat to change up a bit. So I want to eliminate part of the hi-hat here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click where I want the hi-hat to end, and I'm going to use Command E to create a split or a slice. This separates the clips here, and I can now drag this back so that I can delete the hi-hat without having to affect the clips on the end or the beginning. So I'm going to play it from here. We're going to go to right below the numbers, and you're going to see the little speaker. This allows us to start it from here. We're going to zoom in using plus. We're going to drag this way. Okay, we're going to stop it here, and I'm going to eliminate the kick and the snare. So I'm going to, once again, click where I want the slice or the separation to happen. I'm going to use Command E to create a separation. I'm going to go to the kick here. I'm going to use Command E to create another separation, and I'm going to simply drag this back, and then I don't want the hi-hat to come in just yet, so I'm going to drag this back as well. And then I probably want the brass to stop as well, just to have a little breakdown. I'm going to go to the brass, and I'm going to create a separation here using Command E or Control E if you're using Windows. I'm going to drag this back out. I'm going to zoom out using the minus button on the computer keyboard, and let's play it from here. Let's delete part of the tambourine here, so I'm going to use Command E to split it here at the same start or stop, I guess you could say. I'm going to drag this back. Keep in mind that you don't have to worry about deleting completely permanently some of these clips. If you drag it out too far, it's okay. You can always drag it back in. So I'm going to start here. Probably start the hi-hat over here. And then we'll start the kick and the snare there, and the brass as well. Okay, so we're going to create a little breakdown here. We're going to go to where the kick, the snare, and everything else comes back in, and we're going to zoom in here on the hi-hat. And I want part of this hi-hat to drop before the beat starts again. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to create another separation using Command E, and I'm going to drag this back about 2 bars. And let's play it from here to see what it sounds like. Okay, very nice. So we're going to create a simple arrangement here. I don't want to get too crazy because it's going to be a super long tutorial if I do. So let's go ahead and cut out the hi-hat after this loop ends here. Let's cut out the snare as well as the tambourine. So we're probably going to have a little bit of an exit here. So it's going to be a short beat. I want to keep this tutorial as short as possible, even though I think now we're breaking into a longer tutorial part. So we're going to go ahead and have the kick end right there. Okay, so we're going to leave this as it is. This is going to be a simple arrangement, 2 minutes and a little bit more than that of a beat. Obviously, if we have more instruments and more sounds, then we're going to be doing a lot more arranging. But for now, we're going to keep it nice and simple. And we're going to end the video right here. In the next video, part 3, we're going to start doing some of the converting of the MIDI into audio so that we can start fading out some of these sounds and then start doing some more mixing, mastering, and editing. So stick around for part 3, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and check back next week for part 3. I'll see you at the next session.